everyone. Jim here, Boots and Whiskey Podcast. Happy September. I hope you all had a great Labor Day weekend. We released all those episodes over the weekend. I know you're getting another one today, but I don't know. I don't today. We don't take days off. Rafe Carlson is here on the show. We talked to Rafe a few weeks ago. Great kid, absolutely killer sound. Had a great time talking to this dude. We've chatted here a few times back and forth, and he's a genuine dude. Like what you see is what you get. The music's great. Huge honor to have him on the show today. What did we do over the weekend? Oh, we saw Stephen Wilson Jr., Co Wetzel and Hardy over in Hartford, Connecticut. A big thank you to Hardy's team for having us out. Absolutely great time. We got some pictures. We're starting this whole picture thing and this whole photo thing, and I'm not going to lie to you, we don't have all the best equipment in the world, right? But I think we got some cool shots. We got to send those out to get approved, and then once we do, we will post them. So yeah, I think some cool shots. I don't know the fuck, it's new to us, but so a big thank you to them. And that's it. Show was great. We'll talk about the show on the flip side. Um, yeah. That's it. That's it. It's a slow morning. It is Labor Day while I'm recording this, and I gotta go to work. So we gotta do this quick and painless, and we will see you all next Tuesday, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cheers. Countdown. How was your weekend?
It was good, man. It was my first weekend without a show in, I don't even know, probably, months and months and months. Long time.
So what do you do on a weekend with no shows? I mean, even though it doesn't happen often, right?
Well, we had a bachelor party, so I'm kind of still licking my wounds from that. It was
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
rowdy.
That'll
My
do it.
buddy's getting married, and my cousin is getting married in September, so we had a bunch of guys out on the lake. Woke up, and there was a goat in the yard, and there were a couple people missing, and it was like
That's
the hangover kind of, so.
so it was the best party ever.
Yeah, we brought a goat to the bar, and it was interesting. It was fun. There's some videos, I'll send them to you. It was interesting.
Dude, I had like 3 bachelor parties the summer I got married.
That's the correct amount of bachelor parties to have.
And it was so funny because the first one, I want to say it was the first one. My best man took me and everybody else, all the other guys in the wedding party, um, to a Sox Yankees game, and he got us a suite. So all the food, all the drinks, everything was covered, and I remember walking into Fenway. I don't remember leaving Fenway. I don't remember leaving the bars down there. I don't remember shit.
That's awesome. So you're over on the East Coast then? Where are you at?
Yeah. I'm in Massachusetts. I'm right between. I'm about 25 minutes north of Providence, Rhode Island.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I'm about an hour outside of Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah, bachelor party. I haven't been to one of them because I'm always gone on the weekends, so I never have time. Usually when people organize parties and events and stuff, I'm out of town or I'm not able to make
Yeah.
it. It was fun to just kind of let loose for a little while and have a good time. But
Yeah. Now, are you one of those artists where, like, and I don't mean this disrespectful to anybody or yourself or anything like that, but like, there's two sides of the coin, right? There's who the artist, the stage presence, and then you as a person, right? And
yeah.
like for me, that's what this show is about. It's about like you as a person. You know what I mean? So like, is there a difference, or are you who you are, and that's just it?
Dude, I honestly, the better I get at performing and just the better I get as an artist, the smaller the gap is between who I really am and who I am as an artist. So
Yeah.
when I started out, it's like, okay, I got to put on this whole song and dance, and I got to figure out what's my lane, what's my sound, what do I write songs about, and over the years, it's just been a process of shedding all of the things that people have told me. You have to act
Yeah.
this way, write this way, and our shows have gotten better. My songs have gotten better. We have more fun on stage.
Yeah.
Our fans like it more. We just get on stage and kick ass and jump off of stuff, and usually someone winds up bleeding by the end of it all. So it's fun, and that's just how I grew up. I'm pretty redneck out in the woods, hunting, fishing, and listening to Leonard Skinner and stuff. And so the more I guess layers of critiques and advice and things and you hang on to the little nuggets here and there, but the more true to myself I've become, the better I think
Yeah.
an artist I've become. You know.
Yeah. I see it all the time where it's like, even like with this shit, where it's like the less polished or the less I tried to try, if that makes sense, the
Yeah.
better it got.
Totally.
You know?
Well, especially dude, in this day and age, I mean, like everything, it's easy to fake. It's easy to fake stuff now. It's not
Oh
easy
yeah.
to. I mean, it's easy to make things look really real, but I think there's something in the human spirit or in the human radar that can tell if something is real, authentically human or
Right.
not. I think,
Right.
I try to be in that lane of like making the kind of music that is going to stand the test of time, as opposed to the stuff that's really easy to make with AI and beats and all that stuff. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think it's gonna, things that are made by humans are gonna hold an inherent value within the next decade or two. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So when did you start doing all this? Like what made you, pick up a guitar and start singing songs and start writing songs? Like what made you say, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do?
Yeah, my mom was a country music singer back in the '80s. So whenever I was kind of a metalhead in my youth, and I would always ask her about Slayer and stuff, or like, what was it like to be around when this band came out or that band came out? And she was like, well, she always said I missed the '80s because I was singing country music, but she was, regionally in a few bands in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and she played shows all around and had a lot of fun, made a lot of friends, and so I grew up to her singing. I was always singing with her Rascal Flatts and Creed and Bon Jovi and stuff in the car seat, and she taught me how to play guitar. My cousins are all super musical. I grew up watching them playing rock bands when I was a kid at family parties and stuff, and so just aunts and uncles and cousins, all super musical. I got a huge family. I'm actually an only child, but I got a lot of cousins. So grew up listening to them. They taught me how to sing harmony and play guitar and play a little piano and all this. And so it was cool because I never really did a whole lot of formal training. It was all pretty much, family oriented, which
Right.
when you're growing up with a huge family, it's like, oh, this is normal. And then you get out in the world and you realize not everyone's family has, 15 musicians in it. But it's
Right,
fun.
right. Not everybody's the Partridge Family.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things that, I never thought I'd make anything of it because just grew up playing around the campfire and singing songs with the cousins and stuff. And I never thought I'd build a career out of music. I always knew I would have it, I just started posting videos on Instagram when I was probably, 19, 20 years old, and quit my job in first part of 2021. And I had never played a show, had never, been to Nashville, had never tried to actually do the thing. I didn't know how it worked.
Yeah.
So I'd gone up one time and busked. I don't know if you had it. It was stand on the side of the road or the sidewalk and put a tip jar out and try to make some money playing for people on the road. But I did that for 45 minutes one time. Some people walked by and threw some money in the jar, and I was like, okay, proving to myself that I can make money doing this. So I think I gave my 2 weeks notice the next day and went out there and pounded the pavement for 2 weeks and knocked on every door I could and asked, you guys do live music? Do you want to you want me to come play here for a couple hours? I'll do it for free or for tips or whatever. And just kind of went from there and tried to build bigger and bigger and bigger. And now we tour all over the country. I tour the Midwest with the band. They got a band in Nashville. We do the South. So
Damn.
it's been a journey, man.
So did anybody stop you and be like, maybe this isn't a good idea? Like just like out of fear, out of
Oh yeah.
like for you, I mean, as an only child, I know, and God bless him, and my father's gonna fucking wring my neck when I say this, but like as an only child, I know I might, sometimes your parents try to like keep you a little closer than maybe you want them to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, my mom being a musician was like, I think she secretly wanted to say, go for it. This is awesome. But I had a pretty good job and I had a good gig. I was selling motorhomes up in Duluth, Minnesota. Multi tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of motorhomes. So I was doing pretty good for a 19, 20 year old. And I know my folks were pretty upset. My dad was pushing pretty hard. He's like, can't you just like play music on the weekends? Like, why do you have to quit your job to do this? And, I think that's kind of the main thing is that most people don't understand like the business side of being an artist or being a musician.
Yeah.
It's like I'm Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, staring at a computer. It's like I was just out for a thing out in California with a bunch of artists, and you could tell like the full time musicians by the people who were in the hotel lobby staring at a computer screen all day, like working. It's
Right.
not all rainbows and sunshine. It's a lot of like staring at the computer. And but yeah, I mean, there were a handful of people at the beginning were like, yeah, we all do music, but you don't have to go try to make a living out of it. You're probably gonna enjoy it more if you just do it for fun as opposed to try to make a business out of it. There's some truth to that, man. I mean, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's some hard weeks, hard months, hard years, but it's one of the most up and down industries I think in the world, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true because we've been doing this for 4 years now, and I'm sure I could make money doing this, but like I I don't have a business bone in my body, right? Like to me, I'm like, oh, you want me to do that? I'll just do it. Like I don't, to me, like I love doing this. I know we're successful at it. I know we get a lot of views and listeners and all that, but like, you know, I shouldn't say this out loud, but like I don't see a value, like a dollar value in it. You know what I mean? To me, it's just what I love to do. And
But if you're
it's
good at if that's what you love to do and that's what you're good at it, maybe that's because I try to look at that too. Like, what do I suck at? What can I hire
right,
out? What can I outsource to somebody that's good at it? Because like, you know, maybe there's a lane where it's like, okay, now we can fund this. Now we can pay for this person to do this. And I mean, I've been trying to figure that out too, man. Just like
right,
how to grow, what to hire out, what can I, how can I free up like maybe 10 hours a week of my time, whether it's a social media editor or a booking agent or whatever it is, and just have someone else do it. But
right.
that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, and like we've been approached by artists and things that are like, "Hey, do you want to take us on? Can you do that?" And it's like, I would love to, you know what I mean? Because I think I'd be good at it. But at the same time, it's that level of fear. Like I have a day job that I don't make a ton of money, but like I also can't just be like, "Fuck it, and let's see what happens." Either, I have 2 kids and shit, so it's
Yeah,
there's a different level of fear when you get into that side of things.
totally, man. And I think, if you can do something purely from just passion and you don't have to worry about making money off it, the end product is probably going to be a lot more, it's going to be better. I think
Right.
that's my opinion.
And like I don't
Because
have to answer
mixing
to
business
anybody.
with it just makes everything so just it
Right.
kind of pollutes it a little bit.
Right. And if somebody invests and then they want to have a say in what I talk about and what I do and how I do it, and it's like fuck, absolutely not.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, I'm with.
So when you're writing your songs and you're doing your thing, like are you going back and forth between Nashville and Minnesota now, or
Yeah,
like what does that look like for you?
yeah. Typically I go back. I'm kind of snowbirding a little bit because it's so cold up here in the wintertime. I think we had like 2 years ago. We had might have been last year. We had 6 or 7 days in a row that were below -20. I think it's like a record amount of days in a row below -20. So
No,
it's
thank you.
just far northern part of Minnesota. We got fishing and hunting camps and stuff even more north than we live. So I mean, I've had a lot of opening mornings deer hunting in a -10 below or -10 or 0 degrees, sitting and it starts snowing, and you're just sitting there for 12 hours on a deer stand. But yeah, I just it's not so much that I don't like the winters. Like I can handle cold more than I can handle hot. I'm just hot blooded or whatever. But I go to Nashville in the winter because there's just not much going on up here, and
Right.
tour season up here is like May through September. So when we hit the road, it's like mostly outdoor festivals up in the Midwest, and then once that dies down, September, October, I go back down to Nashville, write songs, record music. Try to remind everyone that I still exist. Because you leave that town for a week and people forget about you. It's
Yeah.
insane. It just keeps moving, man.
Yeah.
But it's for the past couple of years, it's been a thing where it's like you leave Nashville. You got your friends down there, you got your network, you got your people you write with, you got studio you record at, producers you work with, whatever it is, and then try to keep in touch with everyone. You go on the road for a few months and play for tens of thousands of people every weekend, and then you come back and you're like, look at this, look what I did, I still exist. Yeah, it's like, it's a really weird balance. I mean, like, I get why people live in Nashville full time. I just bought a house down there in January 1st, so I've actually got a place I can go sleep now instead of having to stay at a hotel or crash at a buddy's place. But it's like I just get, there's a few things that I notice about myself when I spend too much time in Nashville, because it's definitely kind of a hive mind. Like, I end up writing songs that just sound like Nashville wrote the song. It's like,
Right.
what does this have to do with me? Like, maybe this song can, maybe somebody else can record this song, but is this something that I would say, or does this just sound like you took the brains of the top 100 co-writers in Nashville and smashed them all together into one generic sounding thing? It's like, I get like that after a while. My songwriting gets kind of boring, if I spend
Yeah.
too much time. And it's nothing against Nashville, man. I love it.
No.
It's my favorite city in the world. But that's I've just noticed that about myself. I got to get out in the woods, man. That's how I
You
write
know,
music.
it's funny you say that because it's like I think about it all the time, like the songwriters that are out in Nashville, and there's great songwriters, right? They're like the best of the best, and but like you start to like I'm sure you've seen it, I know I see it from this perspective, but like you start seeing these writers and whether they write for themselves or for somebody else, or you see that their songs are in the credits or whatever, it's like, oh, that makes sense because a lot of them just have their sound like this, an Ashley Gorley song before it
Oh yeah.
even before you even get to the chorus, you know what I mean? Like you just
And if it
know.
works, it works.
Right,
That's awesome.
right. And it's cookie cutter, it is what it is, and there's nothing wrong with that, it works, right?
Yep.
But like I think you're right, it does get stale, and it
Yeah,
does.
and especially like if you're gonna be a full time songwriter, that's awesome. But for me, what I've found is like the deeper my brand gets, the more I discover who I am and what my sound is and what my lane is. Which, like we said, that's not a process of adding things on. That's a process of subtracting things and just going, oh,
Right,
wait a
right,
minute, why was I trying to do that? This is who I am.
right,
And the deeper my identity as an artist becomes, and the more honed and dialed in it becomes, the more I have to say no to things. It's like the more I'm like, okay, you're trying to get me on camera to do this little song and dance. You're trying to get me to do this thing. That's not who I am. And
right,
I think I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sing this song. I'm going to sing this song because that's kind of just like you can be maybe that's not the right way to approach it. I know a lot of people that I've always said like probably one of the most biggest indicators of success, especially in music, is doing what you're told. So I don't know if I'm on the right track with that, but I think I've enjoyed myself a lot more. My band is happier, my team is happier, and just we make better music when we say no to things that don't line up with
right.
with our thing.
Yeah, yeah. And like that's exactly what you got to do. You have to say no. You know,
Yeah,
you have to. If not for your own sanity, just for time purposes, you can't say yes to everything.
totally. Yeah.
So when you grow up the way you do, and you said you're a metalhead, and like I can sympathize with that because when I was in high school I was a huge metalhead, not huge, but that's the lane I was in. So what steered you to country music? Was it mom's influence, or was it just something that you got more of a knack for? uh
Right or something.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll just put them. People that watch and listen to this show know at this point that there's going to be some sort of fuckery at some point, so it's fine.
Dude, that's just every day. That's just how
Yeah,
things go, man.
that's just how it goes. So did you? I don't know if you heard me or not, but I was asking you what made you decide to ultimately get into country music.
I mean, country was my bread and butter from age. 0 to 14 when I had my angsty teenager thing where I started listening to Slipknot and Korn and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, I came back to country when I heard, oh, it was Parachute by Chris Stapleton on the radio. I was outside at the lake playing frisbee with my cousin, and the song came on, and I was like, "Who is this?" You know, everything had just been Florida Georgia Line and stuff leading up to that, and you know, I was rebelling against all that and listening to Cannibal Corpse and Slayer and stuff,
Yeah.
and you know, that song came on, and I was like, I would sing this, like I would. This is more up my alley. And then you know, I listened to that whole Traveler album, and I think that was probably the most, you know, pivotal music moment for me was listening to that record and being like, if this is, you know, this is soul music, there's rock elements, there's blues, it's falling under this country umbrella, which, I mean, now the country umbrella is like everything. It's all
Right.
under the country umbrella. But, you know, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But that album just kind of changed the way I looked at, you know, what could be possible within country. And I started listening to country music again, and started writing songs here and there, more just kind of, you know, stuff with my buddies. But yeah, Chris Stapleton, Zach Brown Band, you know, a handful of other artists kind of got me back into the genre. And then I kind of, you know, I started doing little family parties. Like I would get up and play a song or two with my cousins, and I had just the worst stage fright. And I always try to have my voice always crack or something because I was so nervous. And that was one of the reasons when I quit my job and said I'm going to do this full time. I'd never played a show before, and you know, everyone was like, "Are you sure? Like you're gonna be on stage and stuff?" I'm like, "I'm fine with it." You know, I've been posting videos on social media, and you know, quickly find out that it's a lot different live. But it's funny because I didn't really something I always sucked at. Now it's like that's, you know, what I do 4 or 5 days a week. So it's yeah, it's been a journey, and I think playing live is like definitely my favorite part, and it's the most important part of it. You know, every artist I think kind of has like a pie. And I know I have buddies that just, you know, put out a song every week, and it's like streaming is the biggest slice of their pie, and they just make beats and stuff in their bedroom and super, super successful and have hundreds of thousands of million monthly listeners. And we're kind of just like, you know, on the road most of the time, playing shows, selling merch, doing what they used to do back in the 70s, 80s, whatever. And I don't know if it's the right way to do it anymore, but it feels the most authentic and it feels the most like us, you know? And,
You, you know, I'm not to interrupt you, but I think that that is the way to do it. You know, like I think it's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it to actually be successful. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm just biased. You know what I mean? But I would much rather go to a show and see somebody like you that's actually grinding and giving a shit than going to, you know, Gillette to see Morgan Wallen. I mean, I'll go to Gillette to see Morgan Wallen, don't get me wrong, but like, you know, when it comes down to the brass tacks, you know, like I want to see the guys and girls that are busting their ass.
totally. Well, I think, you know, I think the disconnect with that right now is like, and I think it's kind of changed from like 2020, 2021. Every label was signing these TikTok artists that would get 1 million views on a video, and then they think it's like that's the
Right.
career defining thing. But I think now everyone's kind of realized like, you know, it's easier to take an artist who's done the years worth of branding, learning how to tour, learning how, you know, everything down to like building a set list to, you know, posting on social media to doing this, that, and the other thing, like wearing all the hats as an artist, and then just say, okay, we're going to put, you know, a team behind you, we're going to put marketing behind you, global distribution, whatever it is, and here's the framework. You've already built the product. And I think they're coming back to that. I hope, because for a while it was just like, okay, you have never done anything, but you had a video blow up, and we're just going
Right.
to try to take
Right.
this ethereal thing, this floaty thing, and try to bottle it up and build a brand around it. And I think it worked for a few artists, but I think it didn't work for a lot
Yeah.
too. So
You
I
know,
think everyone was all crazy about views and numbers for a long time, and I think it's hopefully getting back to reality a little bit.
I've never seen, whenever I have this conversation with somebody, I always think about Warren Ziders.
Oh,
Always.
totally.
And like I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sit here and be like I am like fuck like Warren Ziders, like I can't wait for him to come to town, right? But that is a prime example of it actually working. You know,
Yeah,
whether you like his music or not, that's not the question. But it worked,
totally.
right? And I've seen, I mean, I'm sure you've seen, you know, hundreds and hundreds of, if not thousands of people that have been successful on TikTok sound great, and you put them in front of you put them in front of an audience, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah,
You know, because they you're right, they can't handle it, and that's, you know, that's what happens.
yeah. You know, the more we play and the more we define kind of our sound and our thing, and the more, you know, experience we get, and the larger, you know, base we build up here, it's like, for me to want to, you know, and I've outsourced some things, I've hired out some things that I just don't have the time to do anymore. And I've kind of got an awesome, you know, team making everything happen, especially in the summertime when we're on the road and I'm paying, you know, 12 people any given time, merch people, drone pilot, videographer, photographer, 5-piece band, people loading in, loading out, front of house, you know, whatever it is. And um, you need people to coordinate all that too. So then it's like, now that's the team. It's not just me by myself playing in a bar anymore in the
Right,
corner. It's like
right.
it's actually a well-oiled machine. But the more we do that and the more dialed in we get, it's like, for me to take this whole machine that we've built and like plug it into the framework of like a record label or you know, label services type company. It's like they would have to really get and be passionate about the brand and the thing.
Yeah,
It's like, for us to undo things we've already built and things we've already done. To a degree we could, but like, I think we've got a thing now. I think our fans would hate it if we tried to like find a different lane because it worked better for what's popular or something. Like, there's proof of concept in what we've done when we go play a show and we're playing a song that we haven't even put out yet,
mm,
and there's tons of people in the front singing along to it. It's like, if people like this kind of, you know, we call it like Great Lakes country or lumberjack country, you know, Northwoods rock and roll within a modern country framework. I mean, like, people up here dig it. It sounds northern. It sounds like country music, but it sounds like, you know, it was made by iron workers or something. You know, it sounds like it
sure.
came from the cold. So it's a little grittier, a little more Skinner influence, a little more Molly Hatchet influence. And I think it's there's been the proof of concept when we play shows, like people are starting to really catch on and like it. And so what I'm saying is, like, for us to change that lane, I just don't know how well that would go over with people. And I'm just really happy where we're at right now, because all of a sudden it's just starting to hit that point where it's like exponentially getting bigger. And we're just like, well, we could add on a person here or there to take on this role, to, you know, to be, whether it's merch coordinator, social media manager, whatever it is. But it's like, here's the thing. And we're all kind of pretty happy with the level we're growing at. So
Yeah.
past couple of years have been awesome, man. It's been a lot of fun up here. We got our core fans, and they know that we're not, you know, trying to impress anyone. It's just like, we're making music for them, and that's what we love to do.
Now I'm going to ask you this question because I don't want to say I've noticed this a lot, but would you? And this is not a disrespectful question at all. It's just I'm curious on how you see it. Um, do you see yourself as a regional act for the area you're in?
That's a great question. I mean, as far as like our touring footprint, yes, as a band, because, like, you know, if we go play a show in Iowa, there's going to be a certain amount of people there. People will
Sure.
know our songs. People will know who we are. Or Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan. But if I, you know, put my band on a bus and we go play in Arizona, might be a couple people, you know, that found us from social media or whatever it is. But typically those types of shows, I'll play solo. I'll fly out to them. There'll be a handful of people that are singing along and that know, you know, maybe some people look me up after they find out I'm playing somewhere. But our core region as far as touring is in the Midwest. So I think, yeah, the term regional act is fitting as far as like a touring footprint.
Sure.
And the thing, and I get why people are so nuts about streaming numbers and social media numbers, because that's the difference, I think, in like the difference between a regional act and a national or global act is like, you can pull out your cell phone and see someone singing a song that could be 8 states away, And so I have had a little bit of that where like I show up in a state I've never been to play a show, and there's people that know me from one of the viral TikTok things we did, or a internet video. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Regional as far as most of our touring as a band, but I think national, more leaning national as far as like what we're trying to aim for on the internet, social
And
media.
I honestly I don't say that disrespectfully at all, because I
No, I know, I
find
get it.
that like I could rattle off fucking like the Filthy Heathens for one, Joe Stan Band, a lot of those guys don't get out of the Midwest because one, they don't have to, right?
Yeah,
And two, if I were to throw you or Joe Stam or anybody else out here, you're absolutely right. Nobody's gonna know who the fuck you are
yeah,
unless you're deep into it like I am and
right,
crazy,
right,
but
right.
but for the most part, but like I've even seen it where, perfect example, right? You know who Flatland Cavalry is, right?
Yep.
So they came up, they were up here this weekend and they played in a small venue, sold just over 1,000 tickets, but you see them out in Texas or somewhere in the Midwest and they're playing,
Oh yeah,
they're playing Red Rocks, they're playing amphitheaters, sold out. It's just, it's wild to me how it's so crazy like that.
yeah, yeah. I think that's the difference between like years of building an area versus primarily focusing on social media, streaming, and connections.
Right,
Because like I think there's a balance of both, and we're still shooting for the national thing. I think we have hopefully kind of a breakout moment coming up. There's a lot of stuff we've got in the works right now. Um, it's gonna be pretty exciting next year, but I think just taking I think it's easier to take what you've built in an area and expand to that national stage more so than it is to just like have a bunch of viral stuff happen and then try to figure out how to be an artist.
right,
So we're kind of at that level where we can kind of call the shots in this neck of the woods, but like you said, we go to Massachusetts, people probably aren't going to know who we are. So
right,
that's uh that's something where you almost need a team, you almost need experience, a label or whatever it is to kind of take you to that national stage, to get you to radio, whatever it
right,
is, whatever your goal is. And that's definitely our goal. But I think we're kind of on the fringe, we're on the edge of what's acceptable sound wise under the country umbrella. When I first started going to Nashville, my producer I was working with was like, dude, like, do you want to make rock music or do you want to make country? Like, if you put this song out, it's great. He's like, I'll help you be a rock artist, but this isn't gonna work. I mean, this is not country music. And then literally a year later, I think Rolling Stone published an article about, it was like Jelly Roll, Corey Kent, Jackson Dean, like all these people, like, this is the new like Ronky Tonk or whatever they called it for
yeah,
a
yeah,
year or so. It's like all of a sudden the umbrella has expanded to whether it's Shabuzi or Zach Bryan doing the folk thing or Morgan Wallen and rock influence, hip hop influence. So the country umbrella is like such a huge thing right now. And now it's like all of a sudden there's artists popping up that I'd never heard of that have super similar sound as I had when I first started coming to town years ago. It's like, okay, well, if it's working for them, I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing when I
yeah,
started out. So I think, like I said, the proof of concept is there. I think we're on the fringe. I think we're on the Leonard Skinner side of what's acceptable on country radio. But I think that's kind of, people are gravitating toward authenticity. And I think we got that in our favor. So
right,
I think we're still, we fit that image of what could be popular nationally, but we'd have to have the right team. We'd have to have a label that, cares about being cool rather than just, getting in on the Colgate commercial or something. Like we have to
right.
actually have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like let's bring back like when music was like,
yeah,
like something cool. I was listening to Nothing Fancy yesterday by Leonard Skinner, and I was like, man, there's nobody that's doing this sort of thing anymore. It's like I want to just put out a whole album that sounds like that. But we've got, probably 10 songs coming out within the next year. It's like every month we got a song coming out. And we're kind of testing the waters with super commercial sounding stuff, but that still fits our vibe. And then some kind of out there, minute long guitar solo, twin guitar stuff. And so I'm just excited to get some music out and kind of see what people respond to.
yeah, yeah. It's funny because I, talking, you know the ADHD starts to go. So
Yeah.
I got a couple of things for you after that a little bit. One would be, as you're expanding and doing your thing in the Midwest and all that, and I don't want to say beating it to death like it's a bad thing, but like at what point is there a moment where you're like, all right, I don't want to say you've run your course, but now we can start to branch and be, okay, let's test the waters here, there,
Yeah.
or whatever, and yeah, you're probably gonna lose some money, right? But like, at what point do you realize the loss is worth the gain? You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're at that point right now. We
Yeah.
were at that point a year ago. So
Okay.
that's kind of, where it's at. Like a lot of my band, like I said, I've got some guys in Nashville I play with, so they're cool to travel, be gone for a week or two at a time. And my guys up here are kind of that way, but there's more families and work and commitments and stuff like that. So we're, that's been something that's kind of held us to the Midwest and gotten to the point where like, it's kind of like the golden handcuffs or whatever, where it's like so fun to play here because there's so many fans and they love our music. And it's like, well, why would we go play in, Southern Indiana or Florida or something where people don't know our music? But
Right.
if we do, we get offers, especially from if like another viral thing happens or I run some ads, meta ads or whatever it is, we get offers every day from places all over the country, places all over the world. We got stuff from um, Switzerland. We get offers from like places to come play there, whether it's like some corporate event or this or that, the other thing. But to actually have, you know, the framework in place to do a productive national tour where you can, like you said, actually, make money on it and pay the guys. And that's the tricky part nowadays, to even be able to break even without a song on the radio or, a whole country that knows who you are. And that's, I think, either where a record label steps in or, I mean, you just got to be, I don't know, you got to figure something out.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of ways to skin a cat, and you just got to,
Yeah.
I mean, we've done,
That's true.
it's like, if we did what we've done in the Midwest and just slowly kept expanding that might be the way to go. But we got things working on in Nashville, we got things in the Midwest. It's like, let's try to figure out what the combination of those two things is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny talking about, the country umbrella and, people like Jelly and stuff. Like my favorite band right now is out of Texas and the Treaty Oak Revival.
Oh
And
yeah, doing great.
like that is the furthest thing from country music, but like they're
Yeah,
under the umbrella, them, Whiskey Meyer, like that's not country. That's not traditional country music. It just comes out of Texas. You know what I mean?
yeah. But they're playing, dude. We're playing a festival with Trio on Friday, and Gavin Adcock is there, Hardy, and so it's like the day we're playing. I don't know if they did this on purpose. If they did, that's cool. But it's all like more rock leaning
Right.
artists or like alternative. And I'm like, if they can put me, Trio, Hardy, Gavin Adcock, on the same day at a festival. It's like a 50,000 person cap. It's We Fest up in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. It's like the biggest camping country festival maybe in the world. Um, if they can do that, it's like, if that's the proof of concept that this thing works. There's so many different splits that are happening in country. It's like you got the Beyonce country, you got the traditional country that Zach Top's doing, and then kind of the alternative. What do you say, Trio? They're kind of like almost alternative
Yeah. Like
rock influence.
they're alternative rock and roll. You know, I think the only thing that saves, this sounds bad, but I think the thing that saves a lot of these artists that are more rock leaning is honestly the songwriting and the lyrics.
Yeah.
Because you listen to a Trio album start to finish, and if you don't cry, you want to run through a wall or kill somebody, you're not getting it.
Yep.
If
So are they based out of Texas?
yeah, yeah, I think
Do they
they're out of
write? Do
Lubbock.
they write their stuff in Nashville, or are they like, because
I
that's a big thing
I don't
too,
think so. I mean, it might. I don't know. I think they do everything right out of Texas.
dude. Some of my favorite artists, like songwriting wise, come from like either Texas or like Appalachia. You can hear a song. Have
Oh
you heard
yeah,
of Ian No? You listen to
yes,
Ian No, dude.
yeah,
His songwriting is like if you wrote a song like that in Nashville, people would like either put you on antidepressants or like
Right.
kick you out of town. Like I don't know what. It's the coolest stuff, but it's like regions influence sound
Oh
and
yeah.
songwriting hugely. I think people don't even realize how much like our music. Like we all grew up. My band, like two of my cousins are in my band. We grew up fishing, hunting in the middle of nowhere together. They both were my guitar players, and it's like so when we write music, it's like yeah, it makes sense, shared experiences, but it's like the three of us or my band couldn't sit down and write a song that sounds Nashville. I could do that with my friends in Nashville, but this is a unique sound shaped by a region. Same thing with Ian Noah. Same thing with Treaty Oak. It's like you get a group of guys together with shared experiences in a part of the world, and that is a sound in itself. And I think people appreciate that. Anything different than kind of the cookie cutter, tried and true thing.
Yeah.
And then like same thing with Zach Top, even though that's real Nashville lyrics, but under that kind of '90s traditional country umbrella, which there's a
Yeah.
huge demand for that too. So
Yeah.
dude, a lot of it is just finding the demographic, building your little character, like the person that is going to listen to your music, and then just making music for that person. I feel like
Right.
if there's a demographic for it, if there's at least like 10,000 people that would listen to that kind of music, I mean, you've got a career. You just got to find them.
Yeah. It's my I know me, like my playlist is pretty bipolar. It's pretty sad and whatever. We're fine. We're all fine. But I can go from like Coulter Wald to Treaty Oak and Co to Charles Wesley Godwin to Zach Bryan to Luke Combs to, as much as I hate to say it, Luke Bryan. Whatever,
Yeah.
it's fine. But you know what I mean? It's that sort of like, it's crazy how all of those artists I just mentioned are all under that country music umbrella, and
Right.
all of them sound worlds different from each other.
Well, and the Grammys they just split and made a new category or whatever, which I
Yeah,
think is a great idea because I hope that translates to radio and to everything because it's so weird that if you go in your car and turn on country radio and there's a Beyonce song and then the next song is I Never Lie by Zach Top. It's like how at what point in
right,
history has these two things been on the same radio station?
right,
It's like how
right,
does those things even sound the same? You
right,
know?
right. Who decided that that's where we're going?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of interesting that like
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
average person would call that the same genre.
It's funny because like I don't listen to country radio much,
Yeah.
actually at all. I really don't. And I feel like I don't have to. And I know that sounds super arrogant, but like I don't have to because I pay attention to what's going on. Like I know when Luke Combs is going to drop a single. I know when all these people are dropping singles, right? Because you pay attention. Or I have to pay attention. So it's
Yeah.
like I don't need to go to country radio to hear the same 7 or 8 songs that I know they're going to play. I'd rather listen to the same 7 or 8 songs I know I'm going to play in my Jeep because that's what I want to hear, and I'm not necessarily something I have to hear.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, radio, man, is in a weird state right now, and I think it's still very, very influential. But all those institutions have just been eaten up to the point where I can listen to the radio and tell like if yeah, I'm not. Sometimes I think maybe I can tell if like you turn on the radio and there's a song playing that sounds like they had $1 million radio budget and it's like okay, here's the release and now it's on the radio versus like a song that's on the radio because everyone's already listening to it and it's really good and
Right.
like okay, we have to play it on the radio because the whole world knows about it.
Right.
It's kind of a different you can tell I think just by the quality of the song. I think
Right.
even non-musical people can tell a good song from a bad song.
Right. And like another perfect example with radio, last summer I saw Zach Bryan play at Gillette for what, 60,000 people. And at that time, up here at least, you would hear something in the orange on the radio maybe once a day, twice a day. But
Hmm.
there was no Zach Bryan radio play, right? And then he could come up here and play 2 nights, sell out Gillette, and you sit in that crowd and everybody is singing every word to every song.
Yeah.
And that right there is the power of social media and Spotify and the like. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know, and then like the radio stations promote it like, look at what we did, and it's like, fuck off, like, you know,
It's funny. No, I think it's the best. I think it is the best time right now for an independent artist to build a career
yeah,
because everyone wants to complain about having to do post video. I mean, I hate social media more than anyone, but everyone complains about having to about numbers and metrics and having to post every day and go live and then also having to tour and also having to be your own tour manager and business manager and merchandise coordinator, whatever it is. But if you can make it work, there's no gatekeepers anymore. You can kind of just be like, here I am, see if people like this. Oh, and then just build a machine that works and targets a certain demographic. It's like, these are my fans, and
right,
grow that and grow that and grow that. Dude, in the 80s or 90s, it was like radio was. I mean, to what degree now is radio king? I don't know, but like at a certain time, it was like Zach Bryan wouldn't have put 60,000 people in an arena or whatever unless there was crazy radio play.
right,
So I think that's a good thing for artists. You just have to have that basically insane, stupid work ethic where you're just
yeah,
like, I have to do this. There's no other option.
right,
And then just build the whole machine, build the whole framework, and then just go with it. And then it's easy because, like I said, there's no gatekeepers. You can just
right,
kind of make stuff up and do your own thing.
yeah. Now for you, with what you're doing, right, and the music you're putting out and everything you're doing, like, because you seem to have a pretty well oiled machine, and that train's rolling, and you should be proud of that. What what what's the next thing that you're like, all right, this is what I have to do, this is what I want to do, but it's scaring the hell out of me?
Oh man, that's a great question. I think the big thing right now is having that breakout song. Because I've had some songs I've put out attached to mega viral TikTok stuff, but it's more like for the video than the song, and maybe 1,000 people will go look the song up or something out of the
Right,
millions that see it. So it doesn't really move the needle. But I think the big thing right now is having that song that hits the algorithm on Spotify or whatever it is, kind of moves the needle to the point where there's people that know us from a song rather than know us because our name is everywhere and we've played a million shows. So I
right,
think that's the next thing, and that's why I've been putting music out like every month now. We got new songs every month or two, and got some strategies working with some cool PR people and some teams to kind of get that ball rolling as far as like streaming goes. Because, dude, sometimes we're playing a festival and it's like, just because we're regionally successful doesn't mean that, like we were just talking about, someone on the other side of the country is going to know who we are. But sometimes we're playing a festival for 5, 10,000 people, and people are having a great time. But I know if like they pull out their phone and look us up on Spotify and look at the monthly listeners or whatever, they're gonna like be like, oh this can't be the same person. Who is this? Is this the same guy? Like how is this? There's a disconnect there just
yeah,
because we probably haven't put adequate time into figuring out the games that you have to play to get
yeah,
streams and stuff. But we've just mostly operated within the world of playing shows and doing real life stuff. So I think the next big thing maybe I'm scared of is like doing that whole streaming thing. But like we talked about, that's one of those things that I'll still play a pretty hands-on role in, but I'm going to outsource and hire out the parts that I don't know about and just focus
yeah,
on what I'm good at.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and you got to do it that way.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what's making me think of this, but when you're playing a show, right, and you're doing your thing, and anybody that's been in this industry knows, like, there's times where you get audible shit where you're like, all right, well, this song's not going to work next, we got to put something else in, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, do you have like a go-to like cover song that you're like, all right, if I do this one, we're gonna get him back?
That's a great question, dude. I think we typically close out if we have like a really rowdy crowd. Um, we try to play as much original stuff as we can because all of
Yeah,
our original stuff is like fast paced, upbeat rock and roll country. So
sure.
people love it even if they don't know the words. People are dancing, having a good time. Um, but yeah, probably Beer Never Broke My Heart. That's just a crowd pleaser, and people know that it's been a staple of our show because as a original artist playing a festival or playing a show or you know playing some kind of event, you it's like you want a good mix of covers, but you want covers that kind of speak to your thing. Like you don't just want to play, Beer Never Broke My Heart and then Tennessee Whiskey and then Neon Moon. It's like, okay, this is just
Right.
this and
Right.
that, grabbing things that we know people will like, as opposed to like, here's a 90-minute set of originals with like four, maybe five hand selected covers that fit the genre.
Right. Right.
And I think for where we're at right now, that kind of strategy works good as far as the balance between originals and covers. We just did Country Fest with Riley Green and Gretchen Wilson and Lainey Wilson um, and Brooks and Dunn. And I was surprised with how many, like, because we stuck around. Usually we play and get out because we got to get to the hotel and wake up for next morning. But we hung around for an hour or two. We also had multiple sets, so we would play on the side stage in between the main stage acts. And we'd get down and we'd watch a little bit of them playing. And dude, I was like, a lot of these, big time Nashville artists, some of them I know, some of them are friends of mine, but they're like, every other song is like a huge mega kit like cover.
Hmm.
Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, and then one of their own songs, and then Beer Never Broke My Heart, and then one of their own songs, and then Margaritaville, whatever it is. It's just
Yeah.
like one after the other. And I don't know what the reason for that is. I think it's kind of when you get to that festival crowd, people are drinking and dancing and
Dude.
maybe you play your four biggest songs, but you don't play any of your album cuts. You don't play any of your deep cuts or anything, even
Yeah.
new songs, unless it's had significant radio play and everyone knows it. So it's
You know,
weird. Music's in a weird place with that.
I call him out all the time, and this is probably why every time I've had him lined up for the podcast, he's canceled. But I love Cameron Marlowe. Like I think this
Oh, yeah.
dude his I think he's got the chops. I think he's got the songs. I have seen him live now 3 or 4 times. I've seen him as a headliner. I've seen him as an opener, and 90% of his show is fucking covers. And it's like, dude, what are you doing?
I think it's like a strategy that works for, it's like, I don't know. I think back to when I was playing at bar gigs for, a few people at a dive bar with just by myself in the corner, and I'm not going to try to play, 90 minutes of original stuff, but like
Right.
when you're at that level, dude, I mean, like if you have, I don't know. I think maybe just festivals are different because there's people there that might be there to see the act after you, the act before you, and you're
Right.
just trying to impress them, make them have a good time. So they wake up the next morning and be like, man, that guy put on a great show. Maybe they don't remember all the songs. But if you're playing like an arena show or a ticketed thing where it's like you're the headliner, or maybe you and one or two other acts, and it's like, man, I'm playing originals. I mean, I don't know
Yeah,
about
you have
the
to.
next guy. Yeah, I
You
don't know.
have to.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
it just
That's what it is being an artist. I
yeah.
don't think people do that. Like, if it was 1976 and you went to see Leonard Skinner, they're playing Leonard Skinner songs because
Right.
that's why
Right.
you went to go see Leonard Skinner.
Exactly.
So it's just a
Exactly.
weird. I don't know if that's just what you have to do nowadays, but I think that
You know,
kind of takes away from being an artist. It's like, here's
right.
my music. You bought a ticket to see me play my music, so
Right.
here it is.
Right.
I don't know.
I couldn't agree anymore. Like I really couldn't. Um so couple of things. I don't want to run because I could sit here and shoot the shit all day, but unfortunately I
Yeah,
have to
man.
work this afternoon. But with everything you got coming out, we talked about it a little bit, the music that's coming out the rest of the year. Well, like what do you know, without giving it away, like what do you think what can you say about what's coming up for the rest of the year and into next year? Because I can't believe we're already starting to talk about 26 already.
Dude, it's all already half over. I just realized that it's more than half over.
Yeah.
2025. It's crazy. Yeah, there's some things I'm not allowed to chat about at the moment, but I got like 6 songs lined up between now and the middle of next year, and we're gonna probably be working on an EP that's coming out before next summer. That's all kind of one cohesive thing, because when I started out, it's like, okay, bought a flight. I just quit my job yesterday. I bought a one-way ticket to Nashville, Tennessee for next week. I've never played a show before, and I'm going to the studio with a producer I've never met to record some music that I just wrote, and I just started writing songs. So it's all just like, figuring out a sound as you go. 2021, 2022, 2023, I'm putting out songs that maybe they're okay songs, but they don't fit the brand yet because we haven't really solidified the brand yet. So
Right.
this next EP and the next record to follow that are all going to be this thing that we've kind of built, this kind of Northwoods rock and roll thing. So that's exciting. I'm just putting more music out because, when you play in a show and there's people singing to songs that haven't come out yet, it's probably time to put that song out. So I've just been in the studio a lot, going back down to Nashville in a couple weeks here to record some stuff, and also going to be working on a wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald thing. Did you ever, that song by Gordon Lightfoot?
Oh yeah.
So we've probably got like tens of millions of views from the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald videos, and people just go nuts, and then we get thousands of people saying you need to put your own version out. So we're working on that. Hopefully to come up before the anniversary, because this year is the 50th anniversary of when the ship sank.
Oh,
So we're
okay,
going to be
yeah.
doing a whole thing, I think, at the museum at Whitefish Point where the ship was headed. We're going out on a big freighter on Lake Superior. We're going to be doing a bunch of content with like drones and stuff, and then we're hopefully going to have that song come out sometime before the anniversary.
Nice. Now,
So, and that's still this.
when you record a song like that, do you have to get permissions and all that shit, or can you just do it?
Yeah, I've never recorded a cover before. You got to get like a mechanical license. It's pretty easy. Obviously, got to credit the songwriter. You can't change the lyrics too much. I mean, you could change like maybe a the to an or like whatever, but you can't like totally change the structure and the lyrics of the song. But as far as I know, it's a pretty easy process. So that's a good question. We're kind of figuring that out as we go. I
Yeah.
think you have to. I don't know if you have to do it directly or if you can have your distributor do that. I'm with 1RPM, and they're pretty good at that sort of thing, figuring things out for you. So, but
Nice.
yeah,
Nice. Well, that'll be
yeah,
fun. That'll be exciting. I can't wait for that.
yeah. Like I said, I've never put out a cover before, so I think a lot of that is figuring out your take. You don't want to just record it like the original and just here it is. Here's me
Right.
singing a karaoke version of this song. It's like,
Right.
no, here's our, without changing what the song is supposed to be, without changing the feeling of it. Here's our take on this song. It's sonically us. It's like its own thing, but it still has the same, because that song is a story, and has such a feeling related to it. It's a very important song for a lot of people where I'm from. So trying to maintain that is kind of it's a balance. So we're still figuring that out, but looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Nice. Well, that'll be great, man. That'll be so.
Yeah.
So for the people listening and watching and all that may not know who you are, how do we keep in contact? How do we, how do they keep following you and doing all those things and staying up to date?
Yeah, Spotify is just Rafe Carlson, Rafe, and then same thing on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. There's not any other Rafe Carlsons that I know of, and there's very few other Rafes. So I was lucky enough to get that at Rafe Carlson on most of the stuff. But I think usually if you type in Rafe space CA, it's still mostly Rafe Cameron from Outer Banks. So you got to press R to get actually to the Rafe Carlson.
Now, let me ask you this, because is Rafe short for something?
No, that's full name. It's a Norwegian nickname. My grandpa's name was Ralph,
Okay.
and I think I'm like 40% Norwegian and 50% Swedish. So most people up northern Minnesota are Scandinavian. So there's a lot of Thors and Svens and stuff like that. And so Rafe is just it's a shortening, maybe of Ralph, I think, or maybe a Scandinavian name. But yeah, its full name is Rafe. And now
Nice.
I've met so many Rafes because people will DM me and be like, my name's Rafe too. So you go on Instagram, I've got like, I'm following like a bunch of different Rafes that I've become friends with over the years. So we're going to build like a Rafe army. Do one of those things where we hold like a party and everyone wears a name tag that says, my name is Rafe. And we all have a beer.
I can see it now.
Just a
That's okay.
bunch of
I don't
weirdos.
know if I would
If
fuck
your
with
name
that
is Ray,
on.
if you just grew up to be weird, I think you have to go through years
You
of
could
being
never
called a Rafe.
you could never find your name on like the keychains or those license
Oh no,
plates. Never.
give it
Never.
up, man. The only
Yeah.
nice thing about it is 4 letters, so you could if you wanted to have a custom license plate, you could do like Rafe something. But
Right.
yeah, no, there's not a lot of us out there.
Nice. Nice. Well, man, it's been a hell of a time getting to know you and shooting the shit, man. I love what you're doing. I love your sound. It's a lot of fun, and hopefully
Thank you,
one of
man.
these days we'll get to see you live and have a beer and shoot the shit.
That sounds awesome, dude. Thanks so much for having me, man. It's been a
Oh,
lot of fun.
anytime, man. Anytime.
Have a good one, bro.
All right. You too. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, everyone. Rafe Carlson again. Rafe, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here. It was great to talk to you and chat. Um, Guys, go check out Rafe. Like, if you can see him live, go. You're gonna get a great show and all that stuff, and the music's great. Good times. Good times. Um, Back to Hardy, Coetzel, Stephen Wilson Jr. Great show. Um, this artist Sicarus opened. I'm not gonna lie to you, wasn't a huge fan. Maybe it was the venue. Maybe I don't know. No, it wasn't the venue. I just don't like it. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. I didn't. It's whatever. Then we had Stephen Wilson Jr., who I absolutely adore and love. We got to see Stephen on his own last November, I think it was November, December. Yeah, maybe Christmas. I don't know. It was something, and we got to meet him. Great dude, like super super kind. Love his music. And then Co Wetzel, like I'm not gonna lie to you. I love Co. Like absolutely love Co Wetzel, and I'm a big believer in like the live show will tell you everything you need to know about this person. And what was it? Earlier this year, he released his live album live at Dickies Arena or whatever, and I was not impressed at all with that recording. And yeah, it's a recording, right? Everybody has bad days, but after seeing him live, I will never not see a co-show when he's up here. Absolutely fantastic. But I personally thought he stole the show. Hardy was great as always. High energy, just fucking, just really. Coed said it. He's gonna come out and kick you in the face, and he did. Like it was absolutely fantastic. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. There was a few songs that he didn't play that I would have loved to have heard again. But overall, great set. Good times. We're gonna do a review and all that and send it out once the pictures are approved and all that. So, that's it. So thank you all for tuning in today. Until next week, be good to each other. We'll see you next Tuesday, and just be cool, guys. We'll see you then. Cheers.